We just had some talks this week, and a couple of words that came out were commitment, and that's the commitment to our style, our tactics, the way we play for each other, and then not making mistakes. So we've made a few mistakes that are errors as a team, and that have led directly to goals, and so we've shot ourselves in the foot. So staying concentrated and being committed are the two keys.
You think, obviously you guys don't pay attention to much of the chatter in the league, but maybe some outside factors, the pressure, does that kind of help spur you guys on to get a result at home?
Well, we aren't certainly happy that we've lost our first two games, but we also know that our backs are against the wall. The chatter hasn't been good. People are rightly saying, or we're moving down in the power rankings and things like that. Okay, now we've got to dig ourselves out of that. So our motivation is always there. We can't rely on what happened last year, because last year's over, and hey, we won the Supporters' Shield, but we've got to move on, and this year's a totally new thing. So a lot of teams around the league haven't started the season well, teams that were on top last season. So you look at us, and then there are a few other clubs, but it's up to us to do our job and get back in the win column.
Historically, this team, this franchise, since the Red Bull Arena 2010, they've never lost more than 3 games at home. You guys already have one in the hole, but do you think being back at home will be a nice way to kind of kick things off and try to get back in the win column?
Yeah, it's always nice to be back at home, especially when you need a win and when you want to win. It should be a nice night, should be a good crowd there, and obviously we want to win. We want to celebrate with our fans, get our first points of the season, and hopefully kickstart this thing and get us on a roll. So it's an important game.
You got Ronald come back from suspension, and we might be getting our first look at Gonzalo.
Mm-hmm.
We saw how good he was in preseason, but maybe just having a full complement of players, what is that going to do for you guys?
Yeah, look, the squad is pretty deep, and we can't just rely on a couple of guys, but we are excited to have Gonzalo back on the field. I think he adds a different dynamic to our team that is certainly unique within our group. So the ability for him to run behind the defense and take guys one-on-one should open up space for everybody else on the field. So we're happy to have him back.
You touched on it just a little bit there before, but I heard Jesse saying about the overall commitment to the match. What exactly does that mean? Is it tactically? Is it just not picking up assignments? What do you think?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Tactically, sticking with our pressing, sticking together, no matter what the situation of the game is. And then I said earlier, just individual mistakes and little errors, little mental lapses where sometimes you get away with stuff and you have a mental lapse, but the other team doesn't punish you. But we've had a couple of mental lapses this season, and we've been punished every time. That's not going to happen every time, but we need to limit those chances. We need to limit giving the other team opportunities out of nothing. And so if we can do that, then we'll be a lot better and more sound defensively, and then hopefully the attack picks up.
For yourself personally, obviously, Gonzalo had a great last preseason game. Then when you're down in Jacksonville, and of course he picked up the injury, how excited are you to see him go back on the field and perform that same magic he did before the injury?
Yeah, like I said earlier, we're excited to get a guy who adds a different dynamic to our attack. We aren't a team that relies on one guy or one player at one position and stuff like that. We have great depth on this team, but he does have a unique skill set that I think proves to be a handful for other teams' defenses, and then it also opens up space for other players with his movement. So we hope that he'll add to our attack.